There we are. Perfect. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Rachel, would you like to call roll?
Yeah, Rachel Swarthout,
Sure.
Francis Donnelly, here, John Cup,
Here.
Dan Mulder, here, Scott Reese,
Here.
Alvin Michael, Jeremy. Here, perfect.
Great, and everybody got to see the minutes. Would anybody like to make any changes or make a motion?
No changes, also moved to approve the minutes.
Second.
Rachel, board communications.
Not have any at this time.
Good. Okay. Getting right to it. I just wanted to say to everybody that we / mainly Rachel got so much done this month. Let's see, that brochure I think is just top notch, and kudos to Karen and Allison for your input on that. I think it really just turned out great. So it'll be fun to see how it gets used and how much it gets used. The boardwalk reopening party was loads of fun for those that were there. It's great. It was very classy, and Matt brought champagne, which kind of took it up a notch, I think. He's also offered for fundraising for the east part of the boardwalk to do a party again, either at Marina Park or at New York. So I don't know, we're gonna talk about that today.
Report.
Okay, good. Yep.
Talked on it.
Let's see. First, Parks Corner was in the newspaper. And Rachel's gonna do the one for the next one, so we're tree
Karen's
board.
doing that one, but
Oh,
I've given her
Karen's
the
doing- okay.
information she needs, yep.
Yep. And that will be on Zorn Beach, right?
September. Yeah, Jordan Beach. I'm trying to get history. Nobody seems to have it. Outback's email they gave me didn't make bounce back.
Oh, I'll ask
So I'll look
Victor.
around.
You may
Yeah, I might
have a
have some
different
in
one.
prior minutes or something.
Okay, I'll write it down so I remember. Check on it.
And last but not least, the playground equipment. And again, thanks to those who we're hoping will donate. There's just one change that the city wants to make in the contract. So we're
And
waiting.
the director's report as well.
Okay.
Not that you can't talk about it now, but just so you know.
I just wanted to highlight how much you got done this month, we. Yep. Okay, I think what we're gonna do first is talk about the skate park. You've probably driven by and seen John's gotten started on demo.
Yeah. So we have,
Spend, yep.
for those of you that have not met, this is Nate Jacks. He is our skate park manager. So he manages all of our seasonal staff, puts the ramps together, anything and everything that's through the skate park goes through Nate in the summer. And then we have Ben. Ben, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you so much. And he's from Evergreen Skate Parks, and he is gonna give us an overview of the design because they are coming into town next week. And I have a picture of it, but does that work for you, or do you want something different?
That works. I would say that works. Yeah.
Perfect. I will hand it over to you to give a overview of the design.
For sure. So, yeah, we're really excited about the project, and we're really excited and pleased with kind of how the community came together and got all the funding together, and we've grown the skate park size quite a bit since some initial sort of concepts were put out there. So what we're looking at now is about 11,000 square feet of skate park, which is pretty close to what you guys had. That original court was like 14,000 square feet. So this is going to be a pretty big park, definitely really big for the area too. And we've got a design going that we're really excited about. So we have like a few different styles of skate park in this design. Sort of that central circle is kind of like a flow, pump tracky. Yep, exactly right there. Sort of space. And then on the bottom right hand corner, there's kind of like a small mini rampy pool style, kind of beginner to intermediate bowl. And then the big circle is like a big track of a mixture of street features and flow features. So we're kind of covering a lot of bases here with like the sort of pump track flow style of skating and the bowl and the street style skating. One thing to note on this drawing is that red dot on the bottom is a power pole. That's sort of a limitation of skate park placement, and there's a utility power line running to the building that we sort of designed around too. So we shouldn't really have to interfere with that at all. And yeah, I think that things are, one thing to note too is things are looking a little tight. And I think that we're going to kind of decide on a final placement and sort of final footprint. Hopefully we can just kind of stick with the direction this is going. But if for some reason there's, some boundary that we're pushing too far up against, when we lay things out on site, we can adjust this a little bit. We kind of have a backup drawing that's a bit more of an oval, but I'm feeling pretty good talking to Nate and Dan and Rachel last week about the site restrictions, that I think this is going to work. So
Perfect.
yeah, does
Thanks, Ben.
anyone have any questions? Yeah.
Hi, Ben, Dana Mulder.
Hey.
I had a couple questions. Let's see. It was great. We got more money, so we've got a bigger park. How did you decide to go from an oval to a circle?
Well, basically the oval totally works really good, and especially for a little bit smaller square footage park. The reasoning to switch to a circle is that it just gives you like this like circular track is going to be like a longer, like sort of continuous path of movement, as opposed to the oval, like the tight ends of the oval sort of restrict that a little bit. They still work pretty good, but just having the circle kind of gives you this giant, almost like infinity loop of like uninterrupted movement. That's just a little bit more seamless. So we've been finding a lot of success, with the circles, and yeah, so that's kind of why with like the larger budget and our ability to have more square footage, we thought we could make a successful circle as opposed to an oval.
Ben, I have a question. This is Karen Stroud. Like, do you, I don't know if you have access to photos of examples of skate parks like this. If you don't have them, if you could send them over, I'd just be curious to see what a photo would look like.
I can pull one up.
Okay, that'd be great.
And
Yeah.
there's one in Illinois that's fairly, I can't tell you the town, but I saw it on the website today. Do you mind if I pull that up?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, give me 1 second. I was actually just talking to Nate about it today. It's not gonna be able to find it. Nate, don't you feel like that was the most similar one? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see here. So this one, Vernon Hills, that is what I'm pulling up. And you can see like an aerial
Mhm.
photo of it is fairly similar. And then it shows, I was gonna go through them all. But from like the ground view, what it would look like, let's go. Something like,
It's gonna work out pretty cool.
I feel like that's the best, I mean, on their website would be the best example.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, totally. And something to note about this particular park in Vernon Hills too is this park is about 30% smaller probably, than the park that we're gonna do in Harbor Springs. So just to give you an idea, that track is gonna be wider and longer. There's gonna be more features on it than this. It's basically gonna be like a bigger version of that park, totally.
Which is still rad. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is it all cement, Ben? I can't tell what that brown is there. Is that just a
Dirt.
different feature?
That-
Is that-
Right, so that's like a green space in the middle of the park. And we do those quite a bit, and essentially some people will do, I've seen everything done. Some people have done artificial turf, some people put sprinkler systems into the middle, and then we leave easy access, like flat work areas where you could drive a mower over into those areas. Some people put down pavers, some people put down big river rock, and some people just don't do anything and kind of let just the grasses do what they will out there. So that's kind of going to be a Parks Department question of how to address that middle area.
So we will have some green space, in other words.
Correct, yeah, so just like that
Okay.
oval had when the middle was green space on the image, it's also important to note that coming off the building, this will be paved. In some fashion, this will have to be paved coming out, so it's not gonna be, grass coming off the building and then right into the skate park. It's not gonna be the perfect,
Yeah.
right? There'll be pathways or completely kind of for picnic tables, shading, things like that.
Very cool.
Is there a particular age range or skill set that this is geared toward, or is it have variety?
That would be about a neat question, most likely.
It would be a variety.
Okay,
Yeah,
Great.
it's not the kind of park where somebody's gonna go in and see a massive bowl that's got 5 foot of vert and walk away and be intimidated. By having the big loop with that many plaza features on the perimeter, mixed with a moonscape flowy section in the middle and a bowl, you can't put together a better recipe of success. And the fact that he just said that our park is gonna have a bigger footprint than the last picture you just saw, we are looking beautiful, just beautiful.
Cool.
Just a comment about how it's looking and all that. I think part of our role is to consider what the community is going to think about this. In addition, we know the skaters are going to love it. It looks like loads of fun. But just a few things, remembering back to, some people didn't want a skate park at all originally. And then some people, when we were rebuilding, said maybe this isn't the place, could it be somewhere else? And then on the heels of taking out the trees in front of Bay Bluffs, I just wonder if I hate to even say this out loud, is it like too big now where it's going to be such a big statement as you're coming into town?
I think it'll be less of a statement coming into town as opposed to what was there. Taking down the fences, when it's all done, it'll be less of a statement. We have to picture it with the fences down, those trees planted, and that's hard to visualize. I understand that. But I don't think, my personal opinion is we fundraise $400,000, that $400,000 should go into the project, which is the skate park. And it's also the same, he said it's a little smaller than what we had, which you could tell the general public. That's what we would say, it's actually a smaller footprint and it has more green space than what's there.
how high above ground will it be? What will the height be?
Ben, did you hear that?
Yeah, most of the high points of the park would be like 2 feet above existing. There would be some small number of areas that will be, maybe +3 above existing. So it won't be, too big of a difference. And then there's going to be areas that are also excavated down as well that are maybe a little deeper, but it won't stick up into the air as far, if that makes sense.
And I just have a question. When you say existing, do you mean the wooden structures?
No, I mean more like the existing concrete.
Oh, ground level, so
Yeah,
it will
2 to
be
3
really
feet.
Yeah,
low.
ground
Really
level.
low.
Then you really won't even really see it.
Yeah.
It will be
Yeah.
lower than what you're used to seeing when
Yeah.
you drive by.
If you-
Backside of that quarter pipe.
Once the landscaping's done right there, you're gonna hardly notice.
You're not even gonna know it's there unless you know it's there. or
You're
we
gonna
put a
see the
sign
fence
on
to the tennis court.
it.
We have
That's it.
trees that
Pickleball.
continue
That's
down
it.
there too, once. it's
That's what
done.
people are gonna talk about, mass fence, they're not gonna talk about the skate park.
Yeah.
It's much cleaner than what we have right now.
It will
With all
look
the
much
different
cleaner,
ramps and
yes.
everything. It's not so
Yeah.
bad looking.
How does this
Very
design
cool.
impact our landscape plan that we did the grant?
It doesn't, because that was a concept design. When we go back for engineering, if we get that grant, Vanessa would base it off this now, and she would alter it. Our scope items would stay the same, the shading, trees, anything like that, but the actual design can change.
I have another question.
Yeah.
What's the plan for the ramps that I see are now in Overview Park? The old ramps, is there any plan for them? Not in the skate park, but I mean, where do they go? What's happening?
Would you like to purchase one? Yeah, that's the idea. We're gonna make them available. for
Okay,
people
that's
to
what I'm-
buy and pick up.
Yeah, so Nate has numbered all of them and taken photos of all of them and documented them all and how they go back together. So the plan will be to sell them. I mean, if we have some left, donate them. You know, they're in decent shape. They can be used. We would have waivers. People have to pick them up themselves, kind of like what the ski slopes did with their chairs. Yeah, so.
Okay. I think you'll be really pleased with how we unload that.
And Rachel, do you know the route of the wheelway relative to this?
So we're still waiting from the county for the easement. But in the perfect world, we would get that easement and the wheelway would come through here,
Down the
Down,
road.
down to where?
down to 119.
It'll come down the road.
On the sidewalk.
Yep, down the side.
So
And
do
it'll
we
pass
need to
under
leave?
The tunnel, well, eventually will pass under the road.
Yeah, Ben had the wheelway plans when he put this together. So he had the parcel, like the mapped out version, so there's room still to do.
So the wheelway is outside of the driveway for Bay Blessing.
It'll go around this.
Hmm?
It'll go around this.
Yeah.
We don't have
Okay,
to
where
alter
that's
anything.
marked off, 14 feet.
That's off
yeah.
the road.
Yeah.
That's not
Right,
the
so the
pavement.
wheelway though goes between the road and the skate park. Is that
Wherever.
right?
Yeah, we don't have to alter this plan for the wheelway.
Mhm.
It'll go around whatever we do.
Yeah, we had to keep that in mind, that the wheelway would be going by it.
I just still have that thought that everything seems tight.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, by the time you get, like, how wide is the wheelway path? 8 feet, something like that?
6.
6,
Is it 6?
I believe it's
By the
6, don't
time
quote
you
me, but
get that in there, and then I don't know if there's gonna be a buffer between that and the road or between that and the skate park. And then, you know, how many feet are we from that pole? I think it would be, you know, like kind of a random thing, but somebody could go off the edge, or how often does that happen? I guess that's more of a question, like, do kids like come out of there?
Fall and go off track and things of that nature, and skateboarding.
I think that pole's a minimal issue.
I agree.
Honestly.
Well, be for the kid that hits it, I guess is what I'm.
Well, common sense will tell you not to hit the
which
damn
pole?
thing.
What are you
I
talking
mean,
about?
that's a minor thing
The
here.
Right,
utility
I mean, we can argue this all day. The design's great. It's here. Let's go with it. Let's get it done.
Yeah, and you know, to maybe jump in about the pole too, you know, there's sort of like dozens of pole obstacles in the skate park too. So, you know, being able to learn control, you know, to avoid those obstacles, it's going to be like of not going out of bounds on the skate park exactly where the power pole is. It's going to be like a practice skill, like riding the park in general, if that makes sense.
And to ease the wheelway, when Ben gets into town, we can take that into consideration and measure it out, just to make sure that
Yeah.
doesn't need to be a final adjustment at the end.
I have one other question. I know Nate had mentioned boards going, you know, from there to toward the road. And I know that was something that we talked about for the DNR grant. Is that still kind of a part of consideration, like some type of barrier?
Yeah, like a fence, we probably plant the trees first, I would think, and see what those look like once the tree board completes that project, and then talk about what other fencing or something, just like a 4-foot black one or something, whatever is.
So there will be a
It's like-
fence again.
Well, we would have to talk about just boards going into one, if something were to happen, a board going into 119, I think we talked about that at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah,
I know that was one of my initial concerns, thinking about, you know, skating in a place where there's been fences for so long. But the distance from even this design, I mean, essentially that is literally kissing where our fence was before. It's almost exactly the same. It's really not that different. So between, what I'm trying to say is, I think that the landscaping, everything will suffice. I don't really actually think a fence would be necessary.
I think we also realize that isn't quite as steep on the skate park side as it is in the Harbor View side, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not that steep
And
of
all
a
those
hill
trees
going
in that
down,
picture are gone.
right?
So how long does it stay flat next to the skate park before it starts the
It's
slope
pretty
down?
flat right up to the pole.
Yeah.
All right, So that's like 4 feet or so. Is that right?
Yeah, the hill doesn't really come into effect until later in the pickleball courts, even
Okay.
past those.
You got easy 10, 12 feet before it
Mhm.
starts to drop.
You'd have to be purposely doing something stupid to have it.
It'd be way out there. Yeah.
It may happen.
You would. The chances of a board flying out. I mean, the bowl sitting on that back corner is, I think, the best in terms of the real estate, looking at its location, not to mention for the further conversation. It's the best view in the park, right where that bowl is in the corner there. And I think that would be a little bit more of a concern, the outer barrier of the bowl being right there. And I think that, you know, we can go 6 feet up and have a nice viewing platform for the fireworks. That'd be kind of cool.
Cool.
Is it just me that feels it's a little tighter? You think you guys are not good with that?
What would be a way for it to not feel as tight? What would, to stretch it out to an oval?
I think that would feel better. Yeah, it's just, I think it's gonna be a whole lot of cement and it's gonna be really big and dominant and,
It's gonna be bad.
I know.
It's gonna be
I
less
know.
than what it is now.
People who use it, they're gonna love it.
So,
I think
it's
No,
oh,
you always come up with all these different things after we put months of work into this.
we got this week, John.
So,
This is very different than what we had last week.
I think
think-
what Ben said in response to the oval was that you have kind of wasted space and the tight angle of the oval, like we have right now with the rectangle. You know, you have kind of wasted corners. So this is gonna give it actually more room by keeping it circular from what Ben just said.
looking at, I see where Dan's coming from, because when I looked at it, I saw the circle and I was like, oh, that's a perfect circle. But looking at it on their website made it flow a little better. I truly think what it's in, and we have the concrete coming off the building, and we have the green space in the middle especially, and it's not overlapping over what already is concrete on this image. It'll flow very nice together. I think no matter what, Escape Park is gonna be a slab of concrete, and this is a prettier slab of concrete than what's there.
So Rachel, the corner over on the,
Here,
on the left, the other side, I'm sorry. That, what is that? You mentioned that's all gonna be grassed,
So
with the
this-
exception of the walkway, right?
yeah, so we will likely concrete this in, because we'll have to have picnic tables, shading, things like that. So this will still be paved in some way, because the skateboarders will have to have a way, obviously, to get to the park, and they'll need a spot, and parents will need a spot. And then this will be green. And this'll,
that lower left
All be
area where you
green.
were will be
and
great.
this will be green. But we will have to leave some sort of open, patio style area for them to congregate. Which I think in turn will give it that, maybe that longer, what we're looking for, elongate it maybe a little bit.
When will that be done?
Huh?
Will that be done after the park is constructed,
It can
or
be,
will we
yeah.
do it after?
We do it afterwards. But we will measure again for the wheelway before they come. Those are small, here and there adjustments to make sure everything will fit.
Nate, you mentioned the little circle on the lower right side there,
Any bowl there?
be a little higher, the little oval.
Well,
Should we consider rotating it? I can't, I'm not a park designer, but you
It-
kind of get
it's-
a little bit away from the road, doesn't matter.
no, I think I think that's gonna then go back to why it got to where it is now based on that utility pole. I think this is the best layout that there can be, with this particular design, and I think that it's, a huge upgrade,
It's very flat.
especially with the amount of concrete that we have for the
The door is
plumbing.
flat right there.
I mean, maybe the bowl more that way to the, what would be to the left, but then you get back into the same thing we're talking about, being too close to the road and all those other things.
Ben, I do have a question for you. So if we meet up there Monday and we say, the wheelway comes to the, west, right? West of the park, east, sorry. Of the park, and we need more space. Can this will be moved like a few feet. Is that something that's a quick adjustment?
Yeah, moving that bowl
Okay.
and essentially we would just like pivot it around like the center point of the park. So it kind of rotate down to the southeast would be the first thing that I would look at. But yeah, that moving that bowl specifically would be pretty easy to do.
Yeah, because I agree with Nate. The view is crucial to that bowl. So we don't want to move it so much where we don't have that feature specifically in that spot with that view line. But a few feet if we needed to,
Yeah.
the wheelway, that's
The
not.
guys places,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
And then,
looking
yeah,
at-
oh,
was just
sorry, I
thinking
was just
a
gonna
lot of-
say, you go ahead.
Great
Well,
minds.
I was
you know?
gonna say, I really think that the wheelway, thinking about it from a family standpoint, going down the wheelway, being there all the time, having interactions with people that are asking clarification on the wheelway. I think there is enough space, and I think that it's gonna, if anything, enhance the partnership of people coming down the wheelway, coming into that space. I don't think if any, it's gonna cause any conflicts or anything along those lines. I think it's just gonna kind of all flow into a nice little pit stop. And we could even have that be part of the design, I don't know, but I just really think there is enough space and it's gonna be a positive. I'm done.
Second that. What he said.
Just one more question along the same lines as before. Is this gonna be like the playground where we lay it out and put the caution tape up and the community's gonna flip out?
Then they flip out. I don't, you know, we can't be scared to do projects because of projects in the past. You know, we learned this wasn't something that we worked on this for 2 years. I mean, the playground, that was pretty sudden. Like, I think we can all look back and say we would have taken different steps. I mean, I don't think anyone in this room can say differently than that, we would have taken different steps. But this is bigger. I mean, this is like a professional company coming in and saying, this is the design, this is the footprint you gave us. So I don't think they're apple to apple projects. I do think, yeah, with the trees, big loss, I know people had comments. People are gonna have comments no matter what. I mean, that's harsh, but it's the truth.
And we're talking about a lower, like,
Right.
there's less of, when you're coming into town, you're seeing not the backsides of the boxes, it's more of a plan, like.
I think the positives outweigh the negatives, is what I would tell people. If people had comments, positive
Yeah.
outweigh the negative.
It's a smaller footprint with more green space.
I think the kids of any parents that could possibly object would be so excited about this. They're gonna convince their parents like, this is really good. It's not gonna really interfere with anything that Harp Springs stands for.
I-
Really great upgrade.
I also think the stance you could take as a parks board, if someone does have an issue, like if you're gonna have something like Evergreen
yeah.
come in. This is what you want them to do, like you want them to go big, and if you're gonna have them come in anyway, halfway across the country. But I understand the concern too, I mean, we're gonna have,
Evergreen has a tremendous reputation. Their work is impeccable. The fact that they're coming, they're literally on their way. We've done our due diligence to clear it out, cops buses, but today, I think it is a dream come true. Anybody who drives by is going to see that it is an open, welcoming space. Just having the fences down already makes it more of a welcoming, open space.
Yeah.
also, if it may ease, it's gonna go to council on Monday, so there will be an update. So if people have comments, this will be on the packet, so. People have comments on the design, we'll hear them Monday night, so that kinda, it's another layer, you know, to.
Another thought
outreach.
too is this has been advertised, this
Yeah.
has been fundraised for,
Right,
this has been in multiple of our agendas. It's been talked about many times.
but I received demonstrated that we got the design. Later than we usually would get something, so people are gonna say we knew about the project, but we didn't see the design. But I stand that the positives outweigh the negatives. I think we have to ride on that. I will leave it to you all, but it will go to council, so there'll be another option for public comment. Opportunity, I should say.
Okay, any other thoughts on, should we move on?
Will it be available for use after the construction's done this season?
Can you answer that?
Yeah, so I mean, as far as the skate park itself being user ready, as soon as we're done, the skate park can be used. So yeah, as soon as we're wrapping up at the end of October, early November and rolled out of there, you guys could open the park up. Some places like to keep it closed to do all the other finishing touches that they want to do, and then some places just open it right up and then, do those finishing touches later. So, but from the skate park perspective, yep, it's ready to go as soon as we're done.
So the
We will
concrete's
be opening
here
ours right now.
ready, or-
Just so you
Right,
know.
yeah.
Kids won't do it.
Yeah, because once we build it, we won't be able to keep them off it.
No,
so.
I think, well, kind of.
Smoke's gonna-
And Sora, okay,
We discussed some options for that.
okay, cool.
This is a small point, but are there drains in like where the pool features are?
So essentially, right now, in the very center of the park, there's one big massive drain. Lucas and his guys have been going out, making lots of different marks. But essentially, the drain has been located. And now that once he, I think, essentially gets to that point, we're gonna be able to see more what's going on there. But I know everybody who knows the drainage, that we've had everybody up there from, except for the gas guys, I think. It's all marked, it's all very legit. And I know they're probably gonna redo some of the drains coming from the roadside there, maybe not so much like where the actual skate park is to make it all work with the drains. But I feel really, really confident about what Lucas does, and I know that Evergreen's really, really great with their drains. That's part of why they have success with their bowls. So I feel confident they're gonna be able to tie into our system very well.
And
Just one other kind of small infrastructure question. Should we put some like 3-inch sleeves for running lighting or sprinkler line to that berm in the middle?
I'll talk to Lucas. There is lighting already, like electrical from the old lights. We did take the poles down, but it's just to relocate them or think about other lighting options in the future. It will have to be lit in some capacity.
It's a good just in case thing.
Yeah,
Because maybe
I'll
we
talk
don't
to
even know
Lucas.
totally what we want, yeah.
And then another thing I want to note, just in case anyone asks in the general public, we did give permission for Ben or one of the crew members to be on site at all times. So he's gonna have a trailer up there. So just when someone asks, we gave permission just for this project. So they can keep an eye on the equipment and all that going on. So it'll just be a small little camper. You won't see it from the road. So
During the process, there's
Yeah.
a construction fence or
no, we're not gonna do a construction. We'll leave that up to Evergreen and say, come in and they say what they need. Any
Yeah,
other
we'll put up
questions?
just an orange fence around the snow fence around the park. So the construction area is clearly marked for everybody.
And is the plaza area by the building, is that part of the 400,000 or however much we ended up with? 100,000?
No, I'll price that out with cups or figure out a second
It does
stage.
seem
and
like
maybe
it would make a lot of sense to do it at the same time,
Yeah.
if we can find the money somewhere.
Just depend on the weather when they get done.
Well, can I touch base on that? One of the things I think about is the 3 lanes. One that gets to the door, one that goes to the garage, and then one goes, those 3 points of access to the building. So as long as those are skatable lanes, I think everybody who skates there is gonna love it. If it becomes one massive area of concrete that we can have like a more seating and more of a big concrete area, that's fine. Even if, like in the original pictures, like just sidewalks to the door is gonna be sufficient for me and the skaters.
I think we've got, what do we have, tables and benches or just tables ordered? So probably that would go on a hard surface.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ben, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys. We're really excited to get there.
We're excited to have you.
See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye.
Great. Okay, moving on, park visits, City Beach and Marina Park, which we went to back in March and decided to revisit. Any comments, additional comments, having seen the summer action there?
I didn't think anything needed to be done at Marina Park. I mean, it's really a nice warm place, great place. A lot of games there, right on the water, so I didn't see any reason to do anything there.
I kind of think we need to wait for the final plan for the Harbor Master Building too. I don't know if that'll change anything. But that should be done. I mean, we already have a first draft of the plan. So didn't really have a lot to add other than perhaps some more benches and an amphitheater, you know, or some kind of staging for the music that have to rent that corner, in the southeast corner there at some point where
Yeah,
we
that might
don't
be-
work or whatever.
Good 2024 project.
Southeast corner where the boxwoods are, right?
Yeah.
Am I on the same page? Okay.
For the band plays, for the music.
Corrections are off.
Right.
Dan, got anything?
No, I just figured everything needs to wait till the new building is completed before we really look at anything different there.
I do have some thoughts that really don't have to do with the new building per se. I don't know what would be involved in refinishing the cornhole boards. But they're getting kind of tatty looking.
Talk to Nick.
I don't know if they were shellacked or what it is.
Well, they get, that's on my list too. They get watered every
Mhm.
night.
Yeah.
And part of cornhole is it's smooth in it. The bean bags slide into the bowl, but not, you know.
Is there any way set in the Ford Park building?
I believe so, yeah. So I can swap them out too.
And then I wanted to talk about trees at Marina Park. That is probably the comment I get most from people is we need more trees there. And, you know, just if you look at it, the most popular area probably is under the one big tree that's left. So Rachel, if you use the pointer there, can you show where the existing tree is? Yep. So I like the idea of having a little shady grove there. I don't think it's gonna block views tremendously. But I think it would add a little personality to the park and also give a good shade option other than the umbrella tables. And then I think it might also be nice to consider a tree back over by the grilling area.
I have a general question.
Yeah.
When the tennis courts were taken out, these trees were already here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just trying to get on the same page.
I think where the trees are shown is not going to terribly impact any tents that go in. I suppose we don't have to start with all of them at once. We could just do a group of 3 for this year and do more later. But I guess we are just to do the group of 3, there'd be the existing ones and then maybe the 2 to the east. Rachel, if you want to point those out. No, actually over in that group, not those 2, but the other 2. Yep. So do people have thoughts about that?
Can you talk a little bit more about those 4 trees? I'm not really clear what you were saying about.
Shade trees, just to have an alternative to sitting at an umbrella table.
Right, I understand that part, but you were referring to those 4 trees right there.
I think she was saying we wouldn't have to plant all 4 at once. If we did
Those are
the-
proposed tree.
Yeah,
If we
prepared
wanted
up.
it smaller, we
Yeah.
could just do a group of 3 with one of them being the existing tree.
I also wondered if we needed more flowers planted around there. We could
I'd rather
expand the
see
plant
flowers
area.
than trees.
Those 2 trees that are there in fairly good health, do we know?
The big one is.
Yeah. Looks like they're-
I think so, yeah.
I definitely agree that if we're gonna put some in, they should be around those 2 that are already there. And maybe not plant 4, but start with 2. You know, and like she said, like just have that little patch of shade, because I do see a lot of people under that tree. People try and drag those tables, they can't, but they try. So,
The 2 to the east will interfere with a lot of functions.
Yeah, you have,
What
takes
functions?
the
You want
harbor.
tents?
That's
Tents,
Yeah. Does it go all the way over to that?
Oh, yeah.
little
Yeah.
parking lot?
there's a couple festivals that'll take up that entire space.
So why don't we say then, if we do want to do trees, we could do the 2 that are either side of the existing one. We just want to start with 2.
That might not be such a bad thing.
And that's right behind the Commerce building, right?
It is.
Right, so it's
Yeah.
something that's already,
well, you have all these trees here too, so you're already, you don't have,
right,
we're not. I like the idea of one over here as well.
We took one out there, though. That big,
Oh,
Took the big
tree.
pine out of there.
Took a real big tree.
Put a nice maple or something in there,
That's what I was thinking.
would go pretty nice. That nasty
think-
pine that was in there was bad.
No, I
It
mean,
would complement, you know,
It was a
one
big
there
tree.
and three there, just kind of pull your eye through.
I think it kind of depends if we want to do anything for the musicians that play in that corner. Give them a little
Good
bit of
point
a
as well.
patio or hard surface to stand on, how that could impact the tree.
This actually would be on the grilling side of the hedge,
right.
so that the performance stage would be on the park side of the hedge.
Okay.
when we had the Marina Park Committee, we looked at you know, kind of an open view gazebo,
Mhm.
you know, so that the performers could be underneath something. But it was decided that they didn't want to block views.
Mhm.
And wouldn't that tree do the same thing then?
Well, trees kind of back out of the way, and some of that's gonna change with the new building anyway. The access point down there, the road access. We should wait on that till next year.
I like the
Yeah.
tree to the west and.
The two over behind the gazebo's not a bad
Okay.
thing.
So curiously, this is on the agenda for tree board on Friday. So if everybody's in agreement, then we'll request 2 trees. I think we have them in our tree bank right now.
The two over behind the gazebo building would be fitting for what's going on down there.
We tied in with the architecture of the new look of the harbor master. We talked about shuffleboard, but I think we need to find out more about the interest in the community. I'd like to do a survey, so.
I know we talked about that this summer and then we got lost. Maybe.
Yeah, let's maybe get through some of these big projects and then we can talk about it maybe over the winter. I don't know if Marina Park is the best place for it. I think it's nice to have it kind of centrally located on one hand, but I don't know, cornhole's working pretty good too.
Well, if we do the ice rink at Kiwanis, if that goes through, it's, you know, a perfect place to have shuffleboard
Cause it's already there.
on the cement.
Surface will already be there. Just gotta paint it out.
Yeah. Let's see, and then just one more thing, but this is a down the road thing of making those connections from the park to downtown with a sidewalk rather than walking through the parking lot.
I can't unsee that every time I go into the park now. You brought that up.
Oh,
I'm like, hold my hands, you
Yeah.
know, get your mind for the backup lights. So yes, I'm happy that that's still on the forefront of.
It's on the radar.
Yeah.
Got anything?
Yes, I went this morning, and I don't know, most of you may know that, you know, I used to go every single morning when I was working nights, but now that I work starting at 7:30 in the morning, I haven't been going. And, you know, the game box is just flooded with about 4 inches of water. And, you know, it just needs to be cleaned
I'll
out,
do that
you
tomorrow.
know, and dumped, and I don't know how you do it. And then we need new plastic containers with lids on them. One to hold the checkers, one to hold the chest. I mean, we need to get rid of junk that's in there and clean up the game box. And the cornhole boards are also, I mean, they're really basically unusable right now.
Okay,
way
I'll
they
switch
are.
them out tomorrow. We'll
Yeah,
look forward
I mean,
to
if we have some, if we have some anywhere else, it would be helpful, but they get watered every single night. You know, so it's tough. And then the other thought I always have is, I would say 500 to 1,000 people a day use Marina Park. And there's so little trash containers. And, you know, Friday night, there's gonna be 1,000 people there for Jelly Roll. And, you know, there's 2 over towards the pier, and there's 1 kind of hidden behind the, you know, by the grilling area. And I don't know, either,
Put an extra one out last year. In that wood chip by the parking lot. I got a complaint about it, a couple complaints about it, 'cause I like how it looked. That made the most sense of where to put it. Was on the wood chips, yeah, we can look at, I mean, yeah. Right.
yeah.
Overflow
go there
trash
and pick
cans
up
or
the
throw it
trash.
out?
I used to pick it all up. There's trash every morning in the parking lot as well as in the park. One table right now has a, you know, a missing umbrella.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's the only one.
we don't have any new ones to
Uh,
put out. We ordered 3 new ones and I already went through them.
and you know, I would
Already
prefer,
went through them.
Those old ones, the ones that were ordered with the Marina Park Committee are super nice. I'm not saying anything negative about them. But when people try and put them up themselves, they break really easily. And I think it's because people don't quite understand how to pin them into place. The new ones, I mean, they're pretty foolproof. So they haven't broken. I'm not saying they won't break. They will, all things break, but we go through those old ones, I mean, almost every week. I send them up to DPW to try and
So I
like
think we were
MacGyver
saying
them back
Going
together.
forward, maybe to go with the new ones.
Yeah, so we'll just be ordering the new ones. I have them on the fall list, like we have it left in the budget to order 6 of those bad boys, so
Mhm.
we have extras.
Nelson?
I agree, wait till the new building plans are done.
Or,
Just for what's going to happen in the park, in the future of the park.
do you mean wait on the trees then, or?
No, plant those 2
Yeah.
trees in the corner by
Okay.
the Commerce Building, but just anything else in general, just
Yeah.
wait to see what's going on with the park.
My comments have all been shared.
Okay. Good, let's move on then to, City Beach. Here you want to go? Sure.
The drinking fountain, I know that that's been out of commission almost all summer. So it's just a thought, and I don't know what it takes to get that back and running.
I will,
And I know there's a fountain across the road.
yeah, I'll talk to Lucas tomorrow.
Um, The signs still say no dogs, and so I think that's confusing because we are now allowing dogs at certain times. So I don't know how to update that, but if you look at the rules that are underneath, it just says no dogs. I don't know. There's
I'll
a
make sure my
patch
laminated signs are still up.
up
yeah,
there.
in the bulletin board, there's specifics, you know, we're just.
Right, but on the really nice, pretty signs.
Yeah, that.
Yeah,
It just contradicts.
So what do we do
most
about
people.
that, Rachel, where something on the pretty one changes?
you have to order, I'll double check with Simplicity, because I would think this is a normal thing where they would have to change rule
Yeah.
signs, so I'll check. I had it laminated on the dog disposable, but those easily could have been displaced by now, so I'll double check.
I've said this before, I wonder if there's something that we can do about the fence. I'm at the beach a lot and I think the lifeguards hold their whistle for that more than anything else for people climbing down through
The
there
road railing.
to go to go to the rocks, like play on the rocks there. But I was just thinking as walking up the boardwalk, how those are just thick enough to, you can't get through them, so.
Yeah,
That's
I
something
got a
that can
quote. Did I ever bring this to the board from Harbor Fence?
Mhm.
So I got a quote from Harbor Fence, and instead of the horizontal, really it was the vertical. Harbor Fence doesn't do the horizontal anymore because kids climb them.
Mm.
So their horizontal cabling, and the quote, it was massive. It was like $13,000 or something. So I wasn't saying, no, it just wasn't a this year project.
The
Um,
cable is enormously expensive.
Yeah, and I think it's because when they're vertical, they've got to be individual, I would think, going up, whereas like you run them horizontal, it's one cable. Right.
I can talk about it later.
Okay.
Might have enough cable left over from the boardwalk that we could personally just make some railings and put them down there.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be the same principle
It'll be a
as
winter,
the,
it'll be a winter project, but we could do it for
Road.
spring, so we can talk about that later.
okay.
Be nice.
My comments were the fence as well, but then also more bike racks. It seems like there's always just piles of bikes all over the place. If we could put like a couple of spots of
That's
bike
a good
racks
idea.
instead of one area. And maybe have them kind of spread out too, because it seems like kids just come and dump their bike wherever.
Right by the building there.
It's just kind of in the grass, here, there, everywhere.
All right,
So,
The hard thing with by the building is that's where all your pedestrians are coming in too, so now.
Yes, along the white picket fence, it needs to be weeded. I
okay,
mean, it's so overgrown, especially on the roadside, but also on the beach side. And, I don't know how difficult it is, whether that'll pull out easy or not, we just saying, but
Do a work day.
they're big, they're big.
yeah, Rob and
weeds.
I did it last year
Okay.
for a day, and the lifeguards have helped a little bit. So
Yeah, they're,
we'll get down there.
they're big weeds. Yeah, I have to say, I think the life preservers look great.
Yeah.
I like them. And then we certainly need a small game box. I mean, it can be just like that green tub, because those are like little children's games.
So I'll leave it up to the board. So the reason I didn't do the game box this year, I held off, is because in the beginning of the summer, I had a couple phone calls from different people. I don't wanna say complaining, but complaining about, toys left, because we have a bin and it's like a lost and found bin. And sometimes, I mean, it's not, lifeguards don't think about it when they leave and they don't put the toys back because they think it's someone else's. There are a lot of toys left. I got a complaint about it, and I was concerned that if I got 2 phone calls in a row, then the next week I added a game box with a bunch of, they would call and say, well, that's not, that wasn't the solution. So I just think it needs to be thought out more. I don't want it, the one at Marina Park's already
Right. This
hard
is
to
different.
maintain.
There's just a
Yeah.
few, small children's plastic shovels and
Right.
that are just in a pile.
Yeah, so
Like one of those green containers over there is big enough.
I wonder if they leave them though in the lifeguard shack is what. Deanna and I
And ask
discussed.
lifeguards.
Yeah, and then they just ask the lifeguard, like we post something and they ask the lifeguards, because they have like kits, you can get like the dollar store, leave them in the lifeguard stand, and then people can just see how that goes and then add the bin. Are we comfortable with that? I mean,
Yeah, as long as the lifeguards aren't distracted by it, but I
there's
thought-
always someone on break in the room, so it would be that person, not the ones on.
I'm just wondering if you need a sturdier box with a lid on it, like the
Yeah.
dock boxes, are they too expensive?
We had a dock box, is what we used originally for the game box, and
The lid was
the
really heavy.
lid is so heavy,
too
and we put. DPW was great and went out and put springs on it, and those broke, and then it just slammed, and it's gonna get a finger and. On a little kid but they are great, and they're huge.
I wonder if we could just get like a big plastic basket kind of thing and they put
Yeah.
it out in the morning and then pick the toys up at night
Right.
and put it back in.
Yeah, that's. But just similar to the lost and found box. we got
Get like a
going.
laundry basket, so
Right.
sand
Right.
Falls through.
funnels out.
Can I speak really quick to the lost and found?
Yeah.
Last year, there was a bin next to the bike rack and now it's just a pile of stuff next to the bike rack.
Maybe the bin went
The
missing.
bin's not there, so
Okay.
there's like one shoe and there's like a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff that looks
Shoes.
like.
I don't even wonder about that.
That's what I
Multiple
thought.
single shoes, yes,
Back
but
to the point of not having it look junky, though, I wonder if the lost we found could be in the lifeguard building.
makes sense.
Yeah.
You just have to post a sign, log
Right.
thing, check with the lifeguards. Mhm.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, Rachel, can you bring up that other slide? So Ben Veling has gone to look at those big maples that are at the beach and did the best he could cleaning them out for this year. That one that's closest to the lifeguard house, though, is in rough shape. So these 3 locations, so the one, there's already a tree there. I just wanted to show you what the spacing would look like with the other trees. So those 2 that are closest to the lifeguard house, I would like to propose that we put some shade trees in there too, and that would increase the amount of shady lawn, which seems to be a very popular place, right? And then have something already get started for when that big one does go.
Why don't we just pull the big one if we're gonna, if we decide to do little ones, just pull that big one down, put a little.
Victor and Ben decided not to.
I think they decided it was healthy enough to stay for the time being.
Would that obstruct any views from any of the neighbors across the street?
Well, it's like any shade tree, you can kind of see under it. The
Or
crown,
another big to-do again,
Yeah.
about view interruption.
oh, we had a big to-do about lack of shade too, so. Pick your poison.
Right. Do they go more into the grassy area?
I think what's nice about where they are is, with the orientation of the beach and where south is. I think this actually would give shade on, that grassy area right next to the sidewalk instead of giving shade on the parking lot.
Are these, I don't know what types of trees these are these going to get?
Yep, those
Bigger
are big
shade.
someday, yep. But do you really think people are gonna?
No, I was just
Yeah.
asking, yeah, I don't, no, I didn't mean for the purpose of.
Then we have the 3 little ones that are over towards Wallstrom's too.
Yeah, those 3 are gonna.
But again,
Maybe
those
decent
aren't,
size.
you know, right adjoining the beach, which is where people seem to like to be. Thoughts?
So the dot in the middle of the two trees, that there's already a tree there.
Yeah, yep. That was, no, the one up, Rachel, if you keep going, that right-hand one.
This one,
Yeah, that's an existing tree. I just stuck that in there so you can kind of see. This would give you somewhat of an orderly progression of the trees along the sidewalk.
so we'd be adding these two.
Yep, just two.
How long have the other trees been there? The small ones?
Oh
These?
boy, when did we put those in? 5 years ago, maybe?
They're still
Something like that.
Yeah.
What happens with the leaves when they start shedding their leaves later in the fall, just blow them out, away from the
DPW.
sand, or out of the sand then.
W things well. I'm open to it. I don't personally prefer trees right in a row, but I'm not a landscape architect. I would scatter them just a little bit. But I like that they're on that edge. I like that they're along that line where people sit. Just like the more natural look of. Right.
Not good enough room for seating, you know, underneath, so people can sit and watch the kids in the grass.
Yep.
But I mean, these are all, gonna be in the line eventually, so that makes sense. And these, obviously, there was a system in place when these were done. And that is a big comment we get about the beach, is lack of shade.
It's a beach.
I understand.
Christ, if you want shade, go to the
falls.
I agree with John. You're at the beach for the sun.
We could start with
It's like
Marina
going to
Park and
church
then come
band,
back
man.
to
Oh my
this.
God.
You know, maybe we don't do both parks at once. Maybe we start with Marina Park where we really need shade and then adjust accordingly.
Man, I don't think those
Learn.
two trees are gonna hurt anything. If we were
No,
gonna do it
not
over
at
in
all.
park, that's
But
absolutely not.
then we know what public comment is, putting them on the waterfront and things like that, and we can adjust accordingly. So,
Being a local guy, I would say one more picnic table would probably be a more practical, good thing down there versus more shade.
Right.
Picnic tables are a hot commodity, especially at the beach. Just like seating anywhere, more seating would be good, but I know that I've noticed that. It's like
Yeah,
the fire,
there's-
4th of July fireworks, you gotta get there, you gotta put your chair out, you gotta get to your spot. There's only, I think, 2 there right now. Maybe one more would be cool if we had them.
yeah, I
Two or
think
three
it's
would
only 2
probably
or 3, yeah.
Did we decide no umbrellas at the beach? Did we talk about it?
I just didn't have any to put out at the beach.
Yeah, the girls, you said,
Pardon?
girls,
Umbrellas.
umbrella.
And the tables there aren't the green ones that have to hold their, or,
Okay, we'll table that.
but that can be a winter discussion and we can, fall discussion.
I think the lifeguard stand out on the raft could use like some stain or paint or something. And then there's still some like kind of lawn that's caved out on the upper side of sidewalk, so I don't know if that's like a fall thing, maybe Lucas could work on that.
Where? Sorry, where?
The sidewalk, along where the sand is
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
grass side of it.
I'm on the same page, okay.
Yeah. So I think there's a way you could fix that. Let's see. We had talked about adding more sand and I think Lucas just pushed it around if,
They do every spring, they push it around. It always
Yeah.
looks pretty
but
sad.
already like it's already kind of gone out away from the sidewalk
Mhm.
around the beach house. So I don't know if at some point it would be good to add some
After the construction of the playground, there'll probably be some.
leftover.
Yeah, we'll be moving that out.
Has there ever been a concession at the beach other than the food truck thing? Like I'm wondering about, would they sell like candy bars and,
Would have to be a complete revamp of the building. There's really not a place to store anything to do
Like a
it. That
refrigerator?
building's really small inside. They already have a lot of safety. I know there used to be a hot dog cart down there. Someone
Yep.
told me. I don't know. That's
By
true.
Wall
Years ago.
Right by Wall
Okay.
Street. Kids would love that.
Yeah. But I love the idea of it. Food trucks can't park down there, unfortunately. And
Maybe
then,
next time you're there, just visualize inside to see if there's any organization.
Yeah.
What would you need, like a
but
refrigerator?
then
and
you
then
go
just
run into the
check.
same issues. People are gonna be going to lifeguards for concessions and not, yeah, like they're lifeguarding. Toys is a quick exchange, like handling money and things adds another component. But I agree, snacks on there would be awesome.
Will we allow some kind of small food truck to come in during the summer?
City, the code's pretty strict. They're only allowed in those four parks.
Food truck, no, but if
An
somebody
ice
did one of
cream
those,
truck
little-
though, fun story, is not held to those, and it can swing around as it pleases.
What is?
the
Ice cream truck, if it has a dairy product.
Oh.
Fun facts.
Park there.
In the past, the hot dog stand would have been in the upper right corner. Just off
Better than
the,
those trees, yeah.
yep,
Yeah, there used to be that card by Walters there.
Yep.
Yeah, all the way down by Wallstone store.
This is probably blasphemy, but that big spruce that's by the can, I'm just wondering if it's had a really long life and it might be really pretty to have a big shade tree there instead.
or just have it gone. Leave it open.
I have no idea who is attached to that blue spruce, so
I
I'm
know.
not gonna say anything. Cause I'm not sure.
Well, it's getting old and ugly.
Yeah, it is, it's on blast, probably like, so. I'm open to
I
looking.
think what's
into
nice
it.
about having a tree there is it kind of draws your eye to the canyon.
Yeah,
I would think that part of the park is where trees could be, the grassy part. More than the beach part.
Mhm.
I have a crazy question, and I'm not saying we're doing this or but I have thought about it. The flag and the cannon are fairly separate from each other. Has it ever been discussed to make them closer together? Moving the flags a little closer to the cannon? It's okay, it doesn't it doesn't affect my life by any means, but it's kind of broken up to
That would
me.
be a question for the Legion.
Okay,
Worth asking, you think?
okay, well, there were no horrified looks, so, okay.
Is there any events that are held down there with the flag and you can think of any?
Memorial Weekend,
Yeah.
that's all about, that's why I said it's about the Legion, and I think the Legion originally put that in there.
Definitely don't
We're
wanna
not
remove
talking about
it.
moving it, right? Just
Yeah, no,
possibly
we're not removing it, no, it's fantastic,
But we-
just,
Yes.
But you know, if you did relocate it closer to the cannon, it would open some things up there.
yeah, I see, people like walking around and picnicking, and it's just, I don't know, it just seems like they should be a little closer together.
See what they
Got it.
say. Do you want to ask them too about that spruce,
I
like,
will.
I don't know that we're ready to say we're gonna do it, or
No,
I mean, that we
but-
want to do it, or that we don't want to do it, just, it would be good to know for future. That's all I had, John.
I'm good with everything.
And I agree with all the comments, especially the one about that fencing down there. I thought of that in the toy box, et cetera, but I wanted to add, for the new playground, do we need some benches down that way at a new playground? Kind of on the perimeter, the, east side.
On the turf,
Yes.
yes, we would put
Yes.
benches in, yeah.
And then I didn't see any recycling containers down there anywhere. Do we have any recycling?
Don't, I called them at county, I never got a hold of anyone, but I'm still in works with that,
Okay.
cause I know the
Yeah, I think
marina
it'd
does
be
their
good to have it.
recycling, yeah.
Yeah, I know we'll have more recycling and more pickups when the new building's done
Yeah,
at the marina.
yeah.
Maybe we'll do the same at City Beach.
Mhm.
I think we need recycling there. That's all I had.
I agree with, Scotty that, weeding needs to be done. And we have a great weeding team right here.
Yeah.
That we did at Marina Park, and, I thought we did a great job. But that means, and I agree with Allison about the bike racks. The only other issue I saw was once the, playground equipment is put in place, I'm a little concerned about safety issues with the road out there. When I was down there were kids running out to their cars and are really out in that road, and so once the playground is done, I think we should address some safety procedures that we can maybe institute. That's it.
Good, okay, moving along then, Zoran Playground update, Rachel.
Gonna be short and sweet. So it went to council 2 Mondays ago. We worked with the advocacy group. We had a donor agreement. There are some minor changes, some verbiage, and how the funds would be distributed. There was a request to change that into like an escrow account or a donation check. So they have a deadline of Monday at 4:30 p.m. So the 21st at 4:30 p.m. So we should get an answer back. It's gonna be yes or no. We're not gonna negotiate further. Council did not want that, and that's okay with me. And we'll go from there. So if everything gets approved, then we will move forward and order the equipment. I've spoken to Doug about colors, what ordering looks like, what installation will look like next summer for the next steps. If for some reason the agreement does not go through, we will put it as a CIP project. And we will discuss what we want. We can still put the swings in and then discuss what we want to do in the meantime. We'll see. And I don't know if that will even become a CIP project. That's not up to me. I can put it in as an application for one, but there's a committee for that. So that's not guaranteed as well. But I think we all agree the beach is a good plan. And I think we should try to move forward with that plan, no matter what, the outcome is. So
Agreed.
Any questions or concerns? All right. And I'll send an email out when I know more about that.
Fall Fest coming right up.
Nice. Scott has a presentation. Scott, I'm gonna go to your presentation.
Okay,
Go for it.
all right, so this is a rough draft. And so already this has been changed. Instead of September 30th, it's now October 7th, which is the first Saturday,
So that's also the.
homecoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it-
Squat.
is that-
So he brought up it was homecoming
Yeah,
and the ski Scott. So the only reason I was hesitant to change the date is our banner says the first weekend, and so do all those brochures. So we're kind of locked into that at this point.
yeah, and I originally chose this day because we need like high school volunteers for the donut thing and, we need people. This is the original banner, right?
Yeah, we have a new one.
It looks
That's the
different
first
now.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. And then Straw Mountain, I think, the DPW kind of knows what they're doing, and Rachel knows I won't be able to be there. Because I'm working, but they've done it now, 3 years, and so it'll work out all right. I don't think it's gonna be a big hard thing to do.
I think I am gonna order some more this year, though.
Yeah,
It certainly is popular,
Yeah,
okay? And then, we have to get people like who are gonna volunteer for each one of the tables, and again, get the table signs, the cloths, the apples, the sticks, the bowls. Just kind of plan ahead. And then if you want the weenie wagon again, you can let me know, they'll do it. It was popular, there's always a line. That's,
okay, yeah.
I don't think we needed to add another vendor, do we? I mean, I feel like that was they handled it really well.
and then the cornhole, we talked about trying to figure out, do we have any new games? And then, we need to set it up. And they're pretty heavy, and you need people that, will put it out.
Yeah, I'll make sure they're fixed too by the time
Yeah.
this comes around.
Yeah,
In
so,
some capacity.
and that's where we had it, last time. And I wouldn't say it was the most popular thing, because there was more, very young children at all of the Fall Fest. Okay. I mean, you guys can decide, like with the music, the last few times it's been pretty quiet, the music, and do we want quiet music, or do we want something that's more lively, or?
I think it's nice because you can still talk and
I
hear.
liked that gentleman. It was like a one-man band, right? Last year?
Yeah, I think this is from the
Yeah.
this picture may be from the first year, because the
Yeah,
other
this
side
is
with
from
the
the
bushes,
first year.
Yeah, so
I
I mean,
think something soft and easy is the way to go.
that's fine, we're older.
We don't want like an.
Can't hear it anyway.
Second.
And then, you know, one year I think we had the chess and checkers out, but I don't think we had them out last year because I think we covered those tables.
Did.
And so, you know, it doesn't, whatever everybody wants, it's fine, but I know you use those tables for painting, the pumpkin paintings. And do you want to do this again or?
Yeah, I think the little kids enjoyed it.
It's on,
Kind of like a passive
Mhm.
activity, and we left it out,
yeah,
you know. for the
I
day.
don't think you need the chess checkers. There's
right,
enough
that's
going
fine,
on.
that's why I'm putting a question mark to put in front of you guys. And then here, you know, the donut challenge. There was some discussion that they wanted,
You are not doing that this year.
Yeah.
No.
No.
we only need donuts that are round and have a hole in the middle.
I will be going and being very specific at the donut shop this year.
But, you know, this
I failed
takes at
epically
least
there.
3 or 4 volunteers, you know, and this is last year that Cam there, but he's graduated now and stuff, so we need to find some high schoolers that'll do that again, but it was certainly popular. And then, I mean, all you moms that helped out at the pumpkin painting, it was great, and again, it took a lot of volunteers. The only other thing I'll say about the pumpkin painting, you know, you probably left 30 to 50 pumpkins, you know, the bushes that people didn't take home. And so I can go on Tuesday and discard those. The events on Saturday, I can go on Tuesday when I'm off work and discard the leftover pumpkins.
Do they go bad that quickly? Would it be okay to leave them for, I mean,
I
they're
think
really colorful.
What we did is we spread them out, and I spread them out in the
In the
flower
po-
patches,
yeah,
like with the
right.
moms.
That's where they were.
Yeah, and then I think what we could do, if we do a skate park event, we could take them
over
up,
there,
take them
yeah.
up there, as long as they're still good.
Great. I've been wanting to chime in and say I want a pumpkin smash down
There you go.
But that certainly was very popular, the painting of the pumpkins. And again, this is, you know, I think if we can get the mayor and the city challenge again, but I think Rachel, you need to be there as the judge. Because there's a lot of controversy between the two of them, who really wins. And then,
That's always a hit, we gotta keep
Yeah.
that.
you good for this?
We're good.
Okay. And then, you know, I've already talked to Eric, and he will play the scarecrow, and the same people that brought the tractor down. And even last year, they had to bring it early because they had an out of town wedding and everything, but they were really, really nice. And it worked out great with the bales of straw. And we had flowers there a little bit too.
A lot of people took pictures. It was
Yeah, and
Very
a
good.
lot of older people took pictures. This is from the first year. That's how many, that's Josie's group. That's how many, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
National Honor Society volunteers we have, which was very.
Name tags, yeah.
Well, yeah, this is just the two of you, you know, kind of schmoozing. And then I think we should have a small tent and a booth and, you know, really show people what we've achieved as a parks, you know, board and, you know, I'm sure we're gonna be fundraising for the eastern part of the boardwalk. And who knows whatever else we may be funding for. But
We could give out the brochures.
yeah, the brochures could be handed out there, but you know, I think that we need to. Cause so many people come up to me and they don't know where the parks are, you know, they're unaware.
Right.
So, yeah. And this was
there.
Nate, the first year, I think.
Hey. Sorry.
That was fun. I think that's a good one to have there.
Especially with the new part.
Especially with the new part.
I can do some fun stuff.
Okay, good.
And then
It's,
got the
the
layout.
layout plan, Dana. And I don't know if it's changing, but these are kind of all the different assignments that we have to fill. You know, so there's quite a few.
So are you okay if I take this and make it into an email, and then we kind of base it off
Yeah.
last year's?
Change any dates that you want. I already changed mine, but
And
So do we decide on the date? We are gonna go to September 30th,
October 7th.
October 7th.
I think for this, we have to, because all those brochures say the first
Okay.
Saturday in
Yep.
October, we're held to that at this point.
and the banners on both sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we do have a donor interested in funding the event. So I will,
A new donor?
a past donor, so I will solidify that in the next couple weeks and let you all know what we can do with what's available. And
We have
yeah,
another board meeting before then too.
yeah.
Yes.
And like Scott says, it's third year, so most of it's fairly mapped out. Last year, the hiccup was, usually the big hiccups are straw getting it, like with DPW, that was,
The first year.
yeah, can be challenging, but this past year we got it in Sheboygan, that was fairly seamless, that worked out well. And then I got the pumpkins from Pond Hill, and that worked out really well.
Yeah.
So probably move.
Donuts was a big screw up last year.
Yeah, you really dropped the ball, to be honest.
Nothing holes, is that what happened?
Oh, yeah, we were stuffing,
No,
string
it was
through, we were doing.
Yeah, so they like gave the leftover, which were delicious.
They gave all
I mean,
the
they were like
tables,
Yeah, they were amazing.
but it didn't
donuts.
matter what they
Couldn't
were.
string them, cause they were like long johns and like. all
They were not.
No, they just totally misunderstood that.
You get those boxes of donuts, I'm like, yeah, that's not. Okay, though, you can redeem yourself, you redeem yourself now at the skate park, look at you.
So yeah, I think, you should update it and put it into a PDF.
Okay. Perfect.
But it's, now's the time when we have to,
Yeah,
Think about
start
it.
planning, I know, it's
Yeah.
crazy. And then I will also be contacting all of these beautiful individuals for mum planting. Yay.
Yay.
Mum planting at Marina Park.
thumbs the word.
So
Wow.
keep an eye
So
out.
we're gonna, let's see, last year we left the marigolds in the edgeratum.
Mhm. I think everything's still looking good right
Yeah.
now. We can wait quite a while, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
order them earlier,
Okay.
right?
Same
Don't you think we
as
should?
last year? Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
And what events are in Marina Park in September? You have the Taste of Harbor,
The book.
and then
Festival.
is also, is that the week after the taste?
I think so, yeah, 'cause the tent stays up,
Yeah.
so I'll be the
End
same
of
this year.
September, isn't it?
Mhm.
So that would have interfered with the state anyway, the original date.
Any other comments or concerns on Fall Fest? Start working hard on that. Get it going. Can't believe we're talking about that. All right,
Manager report, Rachel.
all right. So Margot DeMoose, has moved on from the city of Harbor Springs and now works for Holy Childhood Catholic Church. Cheers to Margot. I will be the interim DDA director till January, so running their board meetings, doing their minutes, things like that. It won't take away from any parks business. And then basically how it'll work is I just keep track of those hours and the DDA funds come to the general fund. So to reimburse. So just, that'll be on my list of things. Council has requested we begin fundraising efforts towards the east portion of the boardwalk. I think that's a good agenda item for our next meeting. We can start going on that and get through some of the things we're finishing up, tying ends. And that goal is I think the project is estimated around 500,000, but we'll do a goal of 450, or we can choose 500, whichever we prefer. But we'll solidify those details next meeting. We already talked about Evergreen, so here's kind of the timeline. They'll be here August, the skate park's closed, obviously. And then Monday, August 21st, this upcoming Monday, Evergreen will be in town. The project takes about 6 to 8 weeks, weather pending. Pickleball will remain open for the time being, but that is subject to change. And it is on every piece of paper up there. So no one should be surprised. Will they? Yes, but they shouldn't be. And then along with pickleball, we've partnered with, his name is Mark Horowitz. And he is a pickleball pro and was interested in holding, lessons, clinics, things like that up the courts. We've had a lot of comments for them. And some public courts allow it, some don't, but it has to be a partnership with that municipality. So I'll be working with him and he'll be doing private lessons. We're allowing it 12 to 4 p.m. because those are our lowest use hours in the heat, and then only one court. So one will always be open, to the public. Lessons don't go over an hour. And then we'll do clinics next summer. So bring something. So
Where's he from?
he lives, I want to say in Florida in the winter. Then he comes here in the summer
Is
every
he
year.
working anywhere else?
Yeah, I believe he's been a pro at Birchwood.
Yeah.
He's really well known, very nice gentleman. I've had a lot of phone calls for lessons. I think it's one of those things where we have a big resort community, so you have people that are playing pickleball, you know, in Florida all year, and they're very advanced. They're very good, which is amazing. And then you have, you know, people who may not have that option to go to places like Birchwood or have the courts and learn,
Any tennis?
you know, the etiquette or the rules. So people are going up there and they're not feeling welcome because they don't know the sport as well as others. So this will kind of, if you do like a beginner's clinic that's 6 weeks, you know, it can kind of get them up to that so everyone can play appropriately. It'll be more open.
That's good.
So. Yeah, so we'll kind of do a trial, and then Nate is really good at dealing with all the pickleball
Yeah.
players up there.
I just wanna
cleaning up the
say
court.
that, since we kind of opened that up to allow him to do that, I want to say that he is the right personality to take in that next layer of pickleball at the city level. Because I think if we get, if we charge for it or any of those types of things, and it's gonna snowball into some big thing it doesn't need to be. He approaches it in a really good way, I think, to still give an extra layer of service that the city's a part of. So I just want to say, on a day-to-day basis, he's wonderful.
Yeah, and then we'll have a contract with them for a percentage to come back to the city, because obviously it's in public courts getting, you know, the fee for that, but it's a good relationship, and, you know, we'll take it as it goes, and, you know, make sure that the courts are still open to the general public and go with that, but we've had enough requests where it was something we needed to look into.
So the participants will pay him
Correct, yeah,
and then he will pay you for the use of the court.
correct, yeah, and we don't have a solid contract. I'm gonna reach out to other municipalities, other courts that use it, clubs, things like that, and see what theirs is, but yeah, he's a great guy, so I think it'll go well. Yeah, pickleball's booming. It's a big part of parks right now. Passport to Adventure is completed. You have it all in front of you. The stickers will be at the Chamber Historical Society tomorrow. They're at City Hall now. All city staff knows how it works and how to sticker them. The water bottle should be here in the next week or so with our logo. Those are pretty nifty. I'm not having the people with the stickers, you know, prove they were at any of these parks. We're not gonna like look at photos or anything. It's gonna be honored with them. So we're pretty excited about that. Do you have any questions on the passport? Or general comments?
It looks great.
Yeah.
Came out really well.
Yeah, Molly Baker did an amazing job along with you and Allison, so thank you so much for your help on that. We're proceeding with both DNR grants. Alex is our grant coordinator, sorry, from Michigan DNR. She will be on her way back from the UP tomorrow and may call me and check, but no matter what, she's scheduling for September to still do the site visits.
She got one already, excuse me. She already do one or not?
Not yet, nope, she canceled because she was ill.
Okay.
So she'll reschedule or she'll contact me tomorrow, if she has time to swing through. And then I talked with her and jotted down some notes. We made it to the round where we can go back into the grants and adjust more things they're looking for. So that's amazing news. So we'll still hear about the passport grant in October and the trust fund in December. And then we already went through the donor agreement, so we're good there. Park updates, we have 3 8-foot benches ordered for the boardwalk. Right now, there's one from Marina Park that's up there for the time being. Lifeguard's last day is Labor Day. And the grill at Shaver looks kind of moved.
Yeah.
Park.
Good.
I just had to check, yeah, so, and that homeowner is very happy about that, so. And I think that's all I had. I felt like I had another note to say, but. Oh, so before I even started, the city got a grant through Denny, our past parks director, to put in rain gardens. Those are going in next Friday, finally, over here by the stadium in the parking lot. So when you see all that dirt and it's coned off, that's for the rain garden. So that project will be next Friday. Those are going in.
And tip of the net watershed. is
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, Noah is the gentleman's name who's heading that. I kind of came into it late in the game, but. Yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah, one quick comment. I've received very positive feedback about the benches, the new benches that are on the tee boxes at the disc golf.
Oh, yes.
I think
Yeah,
I sent you a
thank you for
picture.
saying that, Trevor. I
Yeah,
have,
yeah,
did I send a picture? No,
I thought I sent you a picture that
I have.
Mary
one.
Cash sent of the guy sitting there, but I mean, she said the
Yeah.
players love it. They think
Hold
it's
on,
great.
1 second. They're amazing. He did a great job.
Yeah, they look great.
Thank-
And that's another thing to talk about, maybe at the next meeting too, is Karen and I went and walked the new trails and he put in some new ones. And they're no longer, good for beginners. Let's just put it that way. They're very, steep. And so it would be impossible with a stroller and, anyways,
This is trails.
I'll have to
not-
find
not
it,
golf,
but-
Disc golf holes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're really nice. We went to Preston Feather together. He knew what he was purchasing. I didn't. And then, he built them. So there's 3 on the front 9, there's 2 on the back 9.
They look good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
we'll
looks
talk
very-
further about the trails because there's still a lot of overlap.
Mhm.
It's really,
And
if you're
he,
gonna find your way through the
Yeah.
trails.
I did meet with him and he's willing to walk you through it.
Right,
If
okay.
you'd like, 'cause I think there might have been some intersections that may have been, because they're not
Yeah.
marked,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
so
It's not
he's open
confusing.
to that.
should we adjourn so John can leave?
Well, you guys can keep talking. I just have to be in Charlotte in half an hour, so I gotta fly.
You may have to have the siren on.
John, thanks
I
for.
took it out of the car.